Hi, I'm Matthew Sanchez. I'm a certified financial planner and certified exit planning advisor, and welcome to Multiply Your Millions. In today's show, we're going to talk about the three numbers every entrepreneur must know. Those are your wealth gap, your profit gap, and your value gap. Let's dive in. Your wealth gap is the additional wealth needed for you to reach all your personal financial goals. Your profit gap is the profit you're sacrificing by not operating at a best-in-class level. The value gap is the business value you're sacrificing by not operating at the best-in-class level. Let's dive into the wealth gap. If you're following along only using audio, I'm going to read these numbers out loud, but take a look on YouTube and you'll see the same video to really get a good understanding of the numbers. In this example, we're going to have to make some assumptions. In this case, we're going to assume that the current portfolio's value is roughly $2 million. We're going to use 0 for the business value because at this time, a valuation of the business has not been completed and the owner does not know whether their business is sellable or not. We're also going to have to make some assumptions on income. And in this case, I'm going to use $300,000. Just a nice round number, didn't pick it for any particular reason. And we also say that they're going to save 10% of that or $30,000 per year. The most important thing to figure out is what kind of lifestyle do you want to live when you exit your business? That's a really hard question to answer. Most people, actually pretty much every single person I talk to, no one has any idea how much that's going to cost. So the best way to start is looking at your current lifestyle. In my experience, I really don't know anyone who thinks to themselves, you know what? After all this work that I put in, I really want to cut back on my life and lifestyle. So we're going to start by looking at what their current spending is. In this case, let's take a look at a little less than their current income minus the amount that they're saving. And we're going to use between $250,000 and $275,000 per year. As you can see, we're also going to have to make some assumptions on rates of return. Now, we have no idea what the future is going to hold. We can go into another lost decade where markets return 0 over a 10-year period, and that has happened historically several times in U.S. history. We may go into a slow growth environment, in which case market returns may be in the mid-single digits. We can also have more boom years like what we've experienced recently, in which case returns may be in excess of 10%. For planning purposes, we're going to use that middle range scenario where returns are in the mid-single digits. And in this case, we're going to use 6, 8, and 10. These are only averages, and so you're not going to get the same amount of return every single year. You just need to average them over the time period discussed. Now, when you're going through this process, you may not have an idea of when exactly you want to exit your business, but let's say for this case that you may want to do it between 5 and 10 years from now. In 5 years, the portfolio will have a value of roughly $2.8 to $3.4 million. And if they waited longer, it would be roughly $4 million to $5.5 million. Another assumption we're going to make is that we're going to use the 4% rule. The 4% rule is when you take 4% of your portfolio values out for living purposes. You'll also see that I don't include Social Security, taxes. We can go into all of that down the line with some more advanced planning. But the point of this is to give us a ballpark idea whether the portfolio can sustain or whether your net worth can sustain the lifestyle that you're looking for. What we have here is the answer is in no situation will you be able to spend between $250,000 and $275,000 in today's dollars if that's how your exit went. Let's take a look at what would happen if you sold your business. And again, you may not know what your business is worth, but let's say, for example, you have a country club valuation and you think your business is worth $2 million. Now, a country club valuation is a situation where you're at the country club or a shop or the barbershop, wherever you may be, and somebody you know says, oh, so-and-so I know recently sold their business. It's in a similar industry to yours, and they got X multiple or X $1 million for their business. And what that does is it sets the idea in your mind that your business may be worth that amount. The reality is that could be totally way off. I mean, that number has nothing to do with, was that a best-in-class valuation? Was that a below-average valuation? Was it an average business? There are a lot of factors that really go into evaluation and really the exit terms as well. You don't want to use a country club valuation when trying to figure out how much your business is worth. So when we plug in the numbers and the business is sold for $2 million, we find that, again, no, you are unable to live or sustain a lifestyle between $250,000 and $275,000. What happens if that same business is sold, same $2 million, but instead of saving $30,000 per year, you saved $50,000 per year? And we'll find, again, we are unable to achieve the goals that you've set out. This really tells us that you have a couple options. Either one, you can cut back on your lifestyle, or two, we can figure out what you would need to do to have the lifestyle that you desire. Let's plug in some numbers. In this case, we plugged in $4 million, doubling the value of the business. There are some scenarios where returns are around 6%, where you're still unable to achieve the goal you set out. There are some scenarios where either 7.5 or 10 years down the line, or if market returns were higher, instead of 8%, you got 10%, where you can spend between $250,000 and $275,000 per year. And if you went out longer, 7.5 to 10 years, you'd be able to spend more than that. But that doesn't help us if market returns are lower than average. In this case, 6%. In this case, we can find, by plugging in some other numbers, that $4.5 million may be the target that you're looking for you to have a fully funded lifestyle. Once we understand your wealth gap, then we can take a look at the profit gap. The profit gap is the profit you're sacrificing by not operating at a best-in-class level. Your best-in-class profit at your level of sales minus your actual profit will tell you how much money you're leaving on the table. Just imagine what you can do with your business if you had a best-in-class cash flow. The value gap is calculated by understanding what the value of your business would be worth today if you were operating at a best-in-class profit margin and getting a best-in-class multiple. For many business owners, knowing these three numbers is eye-opening and completely changes the course of how they want to do business in the future. Exit planning is all about knowing your numbers. By knowing your wealth gap, your profit gap, and your value gap, you're going to be able to set yourself up to plan and to put together a business plan that you can execute on to get the life and lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. If you found this video valuable, please click the like and subscribe button below, and we'll see you on the next show.